And welcome back. Now, Indonesia has a very diverse cultural aspect such as songs, craft, fabrics, culinary, and many more categories. And a few years back, this cultural heritage was threatened to be claimed by some other countries. Yet, that incident has triggered many movements to protect and preserve our national treasure for the conservation of our culture. And like our special guest today, we have Hoki Situngkir and Siti Wulandari. They're from a foundation called Sobat Budaya, or Cultural Buddies, to share their movement in protecting Indonesian culture through knowledge with a modern and digitalized way. Hello,
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Thank you.
Good.
Fine.
Fine?
Nice
Okay,
to
now,
meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Now, we start off with modern and digitalized way. Now, what way is that though? Can you explain perhaps?
Well, we have to stop preserving traditional culture traditionally. We have to use the modern ways.
Following the era now, yeah?
Yes, following the era. We have to grow the cultural tradition into our modern life. Otherwise, we will forget it. It will be claimed by other nations or...
But explain a bit about modern culture though, in Indonesia.
In Indonesia.
Our modern culture.
Our modern culture is actually very unique as a consequence of our diversity in traditional culture. We live we breathe the modern life, but we still do as what we should do as a traditional one. We don't just take for granted the modernity into our life. We do democracy, but our democracy would be unique. We live in modern politics, modern economy, modern stock markets, and so on. But
everything is modern.
Yeah, everything is modern now. But actually, there are some points. If we just look deeper, we'll find that there's something unique here in Indonesia.
And what is that? What? What do you think is unique here in our culture?
Yeah,
perhaps maybe fabrics, as we mentioned just now, items, but there's something more than that, right? We had a conversation before this, and you mentioned something about one thing that needs to be preserved in Indonesia, and that is diversity. You mentioned that as well.
Yeah,
right?
for example, stock market, but that's modern way to saving. But in traditional, we have traditional way to saving. For example, gantangan in West Java, and we have nyumbang in Central Java. So we have saving way in traditionally from our ancestors.
Yeah, ancestors.
Yeah.
Yeah. That should be kept and should be preserved.
Yeah.
From the single point, the way she dress, to the way she think about economy, about saving, about investment, about politics, about voting, about democracy, and so on.
That is what you say traditional? Or traditional in a modern era?
Yeah, traditional in the modern era.
Now explain a bit about diversity though. You mentioned about how diversity needs to be preserved. There one thing unique about Indonesia is diversity.
Indonesia is the second largest diversity in the world. We have more than 700 languages here in Indonesia. The first is Papua New Guinea, but they are not archipelago. We are archipelago, so we have a bit of specific complexity in our social life, in our modern situation right now. So, yeah, that's our uniqueness. The problem is how not to diminish the diversity, but how to celebrate it. Celebrate it by many ways, by the way we live, the way we laugh, the way we feast, the way we whatever. And our purpose in Sobat Budaya is how to the first step to celebrate it is by celebrate the knowledge.
The knowledge
that has been there. What is
the knowledge of our culture?
What is actually behind motif batik? What is actually behind the tenun, the woven? Our traditional culinary? What is actually behind that?
So what is your mission and vision though when it comes to the foundation?
Sobat Budaya have vision and mission to preserve traditional culture, of course. And then we want to encourage the preservation, the development, and the protection of traditional culture because so many issue about claim,
Yes.
about extinction of cultural. So we want to encourage the preservation, the documentation, and the protection.
Now, what about the threats of some other countries claiming, to have some of our culture? Is that issue still ongoing until now?
Well, I don't know, but in my opinion, the problem of our traditional culture is actually not about the claiming or the commercialization of our traditional culture. The problem is that we forgot them.
We ourselves forget our own culture and tradition.
Forgot it, and because we just exploit the traditional culture by doing it with creative economics. We wear our batik, our ulos, our food, our traditional food, but we actually forgot what it was meant to be since the first place, and that's a miss if we just do it. Well, if I'm asked about what about the claiming from other countries, I think isn't that in a sense a good one? It is good to be claimed.
Yeah.
But
it means that they want to have our culture, to have our heritage.
Yes.
But what happens if they claimed it to be theirs then? Then it will no longer be, ours.
That's our problem. That's our struggle in Sobat Budaya.
Budaya, exactly.
Yeah.
And the big question is, what are you doing right now to actually prevent that from happening, trying to preserve the culture?
We built the first digital library of traditional culture.
Okay, tell us more about it.
It's been 10 years, about 10 years right now. We have 30,000 items of culture.
All right.
We have more than 5,000 motif batik there. We can check it in www.budayaindonesia.org.
www.budaya.indonesia.org. All right.
In Indonesian, we separate perpustakaan digital budaya Indonesia, digital library of Indonesian culture.
Now, what about Gerakan Sejuta Data Budaya?
Well, we have 30,000 data, but we know that it's just too small to be used as a representation of the actual data. We have 5,000 batiks, but we know it is far less than it should be in our digital library. So we just claim, what about we are making 1 million data? Even though we actually have some kind of realization that
so do we have 1 million?
Yeah, of
we
course.
do.
Well, more maybe.
More than
Indonesia have more than 17,000 archipelago, and then 1,200 suku, ethnics. So it is not impossible that we have millions of culture. Then Gerakan Sejuta Data Budaya is an initiative to documenting the knowledge of our traditional culture, and we doing some activity to gathering the information. We do cultural expedition. Our team go to villages, remote areas, and then we also campaign about crowdsourcing and data mining. So every netizen and every Indonesian society can participation in collecting the data.
Oh, and how do you gather the data? How do these people gather the data?
Yeah, we do it.
Do we research from internet only, or do we go and experience the places there, the cultures there?
Well, preserving traditional culture untraditionally by using the social media, by using the digital phone. We actually make some kind of workshops, workshop to the young people to use their phones, their gadgets to capture the data, documenting it in some kind of standards that can be used for the sake of research, for the sake of law, legal protection, for the sake of innovation, creative economy, and so on.
And you have a team to do it, or do you gather just people, volunteers, to actually, create this awareness or create the data?
For the first 5 years, it's actually just liquid. Everybody can volunteer.
Anybody can join.
But since 2014, we kind of make it Sobat Budaya. We established the Sobat Budaya as a legal entity to do the
movement.
The movement.
All right, and you have submitted some of it to the World Intellectual Property Organization as well. And how is the process like, you know, in terms of gathering all the information and passing it to them?
Yeah, the problem of intellectual property about Indonesian traditional culture is because we lack of data. We know that we are very rich of cultural elements, but we actually don't know how rich we are. We say we are very rich with our culture, tradition, and so on, but how rich actually?
And that is one issue that we are currently still facing,
Yes.
regardless of how many people are still, you know, volunteering to help create the awareness.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to go for a short break, but when we come back, we're going to continue talking about the Indonesian heritage and culture and how to preserve it. Don't go anywhere.
All right, good morning.
Good
Sorry, very sorry again.
Tommy Chokro. It's okay. All right, now we are with our guests today,
Yes.
Hoki and Wulan, and we're talking about how to preserve our culture and heritage by giving them knowledge, actually, basically, by creating awareness, right? And just now we mentioned about libraries, we mentioned about Gerakan Sejuta Budaya as well, and we mentioned about your vision and mission. And now there's actually something...
Application, right?
Application,
Yes. Can you explain to us more about it?
Yeah, after 10 years of collecting the data, we have 30,000 of data. We have more than 1,400 food. In Indonesia, we have 500 songs. You can actually browse this by
Was it at the same website just now?
Yes.
www.budayaindonesia.org.
www.budaya.org, or just go to the App Store looking for the map of batik, the map of
Indomuse.
Indomuse, the map of Indonesian song, traditional song, the map of Indonesian traditional culinary.
So these are actually the explanations, the descriptions, or the background. What is it? In
Yes,
this application, basically. What can you find there?
Generally, we know the map of Indonesia is like this is Sumatra, this is Java, this is Papua, this.
And where we can find this heritage,
Yes.
where we can find this culture. All right.
And the application is to show you the diversity also have some similarities and diversities within
Each culture.
each culture.
All right.
So we have the map of Indonesian traditional song. We can see that how closely related the far western Indonesia to the
Eastern
eastern
part.
And that will be different if you talk about the batik motif. It will be very different if you talk about the food, the taste of the food. We have more than 100 soto, you know, soto.
100
Designer
soto.
soto.
Yes,
More than it.
in Indonesia.
I love soto.
Wow.
Have you tasted all of it?
Of course not.
I think we just found out that there's about 100.
Like
for
1%
soto.
of 100.
Exactly. And this information you said you gathered from people going over to this
Yes.
different places to actually
Yes.
find out about this sotos. And do you have any response so far about this application?
Yeah.
From this application?
The response is actually surprising.
A lot of people are actually curious?
Yes, young people. You know, many people say it is just for the old guys if we talk about traditional culture, heritage, and so on. But actually, when we try to make it in a digital way,
Modern way.
yes, make it a kind of a gimmick into it, an application like a website, like social media, cool tweet,
Cool tweet.
lecture,
Serial tweet.
serial
Serial
tweets,
tweet.
and so on. Actually, the response is from the young people very much. And
Do you have any
surprising.
like a video graphic in it, like explaining
Yeah.
the roadmap and everything?
Yes, we
Can
have it
access
the
in
website.
our YouTube channel. And
YouTube channel.
Yes,
Okay.
and then since 2014, the growth of Sobat Budaya is increased so
Drastically.
We have 43 district branch of Sobat Budaya in Indonesia.
Sobat Budaya in Makassar, in Medan,
Aceh.
in Aceh.
And with this sort of information, how do you protect this culture by, having this kind of system in your apps?
Well, actually, if we just make it in a digital way, we have do the halfway to protect it.
We're only halfway there. Yeah.
Yes, the half. The rest should be delivered by the government, probably.
Delivered by the government, meanings
Government.
like to make it
Protection.
like a copyright.
The copyright,
Yes.
the ministry, the related ministries, departments, and so on.
And so far, right now, are you getting government support, or are the government actually helping? In a way?
Actually, I must say that we did accept many support, but not as much as it should
Be okay.
in our
You need more.
thing. We need more.
Okay.
What about, let's say, from people, citizens of Indonesia itself? Now, how can they contribute to this?
Please register your name, your account in the www.budaya.org, and then submit. Look around you, look at your surrounding, look at your collection of batik, woven,
And share.
food, and share it there.
Share in that
Share
platform.
in that platform.
Okay.
Well, you still may share it in Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, but please share it here. And we have some kind of quote-unquote rules to submit the data, not as easily as Instagram or Twitter.
There's a filter to it as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and also you can, if you don't have the data, you can just browse it and help to edit it.
Have you think about like collaborating with other media platform because you have so much data in it?
Yeah.
Because basically this is some good education for youngsters, not only through digital but also to conventional platform. Do you have any ideas of collaborating with them or not?
Well, most of the events of Sobat Budaya is collaborative.
Okay.
With many communities, media,
Many young people, and then student also.
schools,
Schools.
universities. Yes.
Yep.
Good.
But so far, any response from people outside of Indonesia though, regarding this
Well,
application tool?
it is not exaggerating if I say that we actually the first to map the batik. Once I just show it in an international audience, never has come to Indonesia before. Show it the map of Indonesian traditional song, the map of culinary, and their comment is very interesting. Their comment is, how do you protect that?
Exactly.
Because they know there's
So many.
Exactly.
Because basically, what we've heard, there's one like rendang, for example, and then batik. Well, those
know
are
that-
probably only a little bit of so many. Like,
There are actually more than 20 rendang, you know?
yes, I mean, that's the thing.
Not only one.
Or, but
mentioned there-
reading your title here, like telaah sains mutakhir atas jag-jag tradisi. So, what do you mean by like the latest science towards this culture information?
Yeah,
This book.
The book is about. You should get it.
Yes.
In the local bookstores or online shop.
Okay.
The book is about the adventure of seeing from the first painting of batik to the way we do the economy, to the way we think about trading, about politics, about political preferences, about many things, about democracy, about a lot of things.
Stocks, everything.
From the very beginning of the knowledge, from the very first time we make our batik, our woven, our ingredients in food, from the very first to the larger view of culture that earlier I said to Tasha that actually we don't only have different cultures, we have also different civilizations in Indonesia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nusantara is very amazing.
Also write about the protection
Yeah.
initiative. 2 days ago, we held a seminar, national seminar about the protection of traditional culture, namely RUU PTBT, or the draft bill of protection traditional knowledge and traditional culture expression. And we want to make it become the legal protection that held by government. But it is a long way.
For sure.
But do you think you need a lot of like hard work to get that?
Of course, 10 years it's not a short time. 10 years.
But we can make it shorter.
We
Right?
can make it shorter.
Exactly, because basically this is actually just about what we want. Basically, just because more than 100. It's like what? How many did you say? 34,000.
Yes.
More than
And
34.
millions
Data.
of heritages.
Heritages.
Wow.
Millions of heritages in Indonesia.
Okay.
And so far, are you currently gathering more data?
Yeah.
Still going on.
Keep on
Still going on.
looking for.
Still going on. We very thankful to be invited here with you guys. And in this occasion, we would like to invite a lot of more participants, a lot of more people that care about Indonesian traditional culture, because, well, we know how we know that we are rich cultural wise, but we don't actually know how rich we are.
That's right.
Exactly. If I
The
see one
knowledge
of the
of it.
pages here, you mentioned also about the, like state government
Yes.
structure.
Yeah.
How do you relate that to our culture these days?
We are, as I said earlier, we have our own actually definition, quote unquote, about democracy, about the political life. We cannot just import it from the Western culture and so on. We have our own, and a lot of things, actual things, we can talk about this later with more time. The problem, there are many political problems here actually in Indonesia, is because we are actually confused when we should act as traditional perspective, traditional ways, when we should do as modern life, as we import the concept of democracy and so on. How do we do in traditional culture do the demonstration, the civil action? Actually, we discuss it in the book.
So we don't need to learn from outside.
Yeah.
We actually need to learn from our history, basically our
Yes.
culture.
Yes.
But
Because we
it's
had
how-
that
yeah.
kind of perspective.
But
Okay.
it's just implementing the traditional way into a more modern era,
Yeah.
so that it's easier for people now to actually
Yes.
understand.
That is why I said, by doing the preservation of traditional culture untraditionally, we express our love to Indonesia, but also we inspire the world. We will not just get inspiration. Our diversity can actually inspire the world, literally speaking.
All right.
But
Okay.
is it easy or hard to apply traditional into, or is there certain traditional cultures that you have to be kept traditional and cannot be brought modernized?
That's a very technical problems, technical things, and actually, I think it is not the actual problem for right now. The
Okay.
problem is that more and more young people forgot about the knowledge, not only the culture. Well, we still remember now about batik, but we are getting into the point that we have forgot about the meaning of the batik motifs.
Maybe not the youngsters' fault. Basically, the one who
They're
runs
all-
it.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Okay, thank you so much.
for
Bulan, thank you
sharing
so
that.
much.
And good luck with your
Yes.
foundation.